Alright, y'all. So I've been working on this blog post for the last 2 days called Black America. Black men dating white women equals, oh hell no. Black woman dating white man equals, you go girl. And in this article, I was attempting to explore, and create a catalyst for conversation as to why many people feel that way, and addressing the double standard and the somewhat hypocrisy in both ways of thinking. In doing so, this article forced me to get in touch with my own personal bias and my own attitudes and opinions based on my social conditioning. The article started to get very, 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 very lengthy, and I realized that a lot of people are audio and visual learners and would probably like to do this in a video format. Plus, I can use a bit more slang and be conversational doing this in a video format. So I did the post, which will probably live forever on and be quoted and going on and copied. So that's all, professional and academic-like or whatever. And now I want to have a real conversation based on the post with you guys out there, because this is one of those things that, it's funny, weird, and we don't like to talk about. What prompted this situation, of course, in our country right now, race is at the forefront of everything. It just is, whether we like it or not. And in the comment sections of one of my recent blog posts or Instagram posts, somebody accused me of, they said, Dineva, you seem to have a lot of problems with interracial dating. And really, at my core, I don't. However, I had to take a step outside myself and look at my recent collection of blog posts and Instagram posts. And if you did not know me and if you did not know my heart, it probably would appear, that I'm jaded or slanted, or that my work has been pointed in these last several months. But the only reason that is because what all is going on in the country. Then it didn't make things any better that Nate Parker, the birth of a nation, his wife being white, and the simple fact that he gets under my skin, period. I did a lot of coverage on that, a lot of opinion pieces on him. And so I get how somebody could feel that way. But nonetheless, all of that prompted this, and it forced me to get in touch with some of my own bias and opinions. And here we go. So this conversation started out with one of my girlfriends. So let me give you her profile. She's 40, mid-40s, she's got her stuff together, excellent career, financially independent, educated, well-traveled, all of these good things. And she dates white men. She dates men of all colors. And we were sitting here talking and just talking about the Nate Parker situation, and she let on that, yes, it does bother me. She's like, whenever I'm out and about and I see a black man with a white woman, it bothers me. And she was like, hell, I could be sitting at the bar with a white man, as I have so many times in the past. She said, I can be sitting in the bar with a white man and a black man walking in with a white woman, and I have an attitude despite the fact that I'm sitting there with a black man. Then she closed out her thoughts by saying, hell, I'm sitting here with the white man because y'all don't want us, meaning the black men. And I was like, very, very interesting. So then I called one of my best friends who lives in New York. I'm 33, so he's 34. Lives in New York, finishing up his PhD, black, gay, educated man. Give you a little bit of his background. And basically he echoed her sentiments. He was like, yeah, Q, I do feel the same kind of way. But he threw one slight plot twist. Interestingly enough, his disdain for black men dating white women only existed within the heterosexual framework. Because he was like, now amongst the gays, whether it's lesbians or gay men, he was like, I really don't matter. I don't care. I don't care, black, white, black, man, woman. I really don't care amongst gay people. But amongst heterosexual people, he was like, yeah, I kind of have an attitude when black men date white women. But it don't really bother me when black women date white men. And so then he and I sat down and started to, peel back the layers and get to the root of why we feel this way. So before I get into that, though, it made me address my own opinions on the thing. Now, me and my homegirl Queen, we talk about it all the time. And in the past, we've always said, I really don't matter I really don't care who a person dates or who they fall in love with, just as long as it's not from a position of, oh, I think this person is better or supreme to. Now, me, quite frankly, I am of the school of thought that when people don't have a preference for people who look like them, you got a problem. And that's across all races. When you don't like somebody or prefer to be with somebody that looks like you, in my mind, that's problematic. Now, when I went to Florida State University and got my degree in economics, they ain't teach me shit about psychology, okay? But that just seems to be a no-brainer. When you don't like a person that look like you or that look like your mama and daddy, something is wrong. And it's proven fact that for the most part, people tend to date, marry, be sexually attracted to people within their culture. So it's not odd if you Asian to prefer Asian girls and not necessarily like black girls. And I don't think it's odd that if you black, I got a lot of my free girls and guys be like, I don't want no white person, I don't want to date no white. And I got a lot of white homegirls that just dating black men are out of the question for them. They're not attracted. And that is not racist or prejudice. That is just basic, culture, biology, whatever. But anyway, addressing, do I feel some kind of way about black men dating white women? For me to flat out say yes would be racist and prejudice of me, and I don't feel comfortable going on record saying that. I do not have an issue with it with this one caveat. There's always a but. And the but is, if this brother has proportionately dated women of all races or women of one or two races all of his life, college, high school, whatever, and then, he goes off and marries a white woman, more power to you. You genuinely may like this woman. But I'm talking about the brothers who, grew up round the way, always dated Tamika and LaShawn, mama around the way, get her hairdresser done at Miss Betty house, get a rolling set. You go to college and you date your high school sweetheart, then all of a sudden, later down the line, you come into some level of success or money or fame, and then now you go off and get a white woman. That shit looks a little askew to me. I'm sorry. And I think that's the issue that a lot of black people, and in particular black women, have when they see a black man with a white woman. Now, overall, it has been proven that, more black men than not prefer to date and marry black women. And has the media and propaganda, to a degree, helped push this narrative that, oh, black men go off and they make money, then they ditch the black woman and go get the white woman. Yes, I do think a lot of people's attitudes are derived largely in part by propaganda. I don't think the issue is as widespread as, some would have you to believe. I still think overall, and there was a statistic somewhere, I can't find it at the moment off the top of my head, amongst black athletes, entertainers, and high earners, and it found that the overwhelming majority of them still go out and marry black women. It was like majority of athletes who are black, they have black spouses and significant others. So the problem may not, I don't think it's a large spread problem. I think we're talking about a problem of a select few, but it's still a problem nonetheless, because with that narrative being pushed, now oftentimes whenever we look at a black man with a white woman, a lot of people are like, what's this shit all about? So again, for me, the issue is not with interracial dating per se, but when somebody does it from the perspective of they think this is better. And oftentimes, you do find these brothers, and I'm not going to make this about any one particular black man or athlete or entertainer, but you do find these brothers that, they come into a little something and they go get at this white woman, she's a damn trophy, and that she just going to give him, the ultimate access to the Mile High Club. And what's interesting for me is, it bothers me because I've been wanting to ask myself, or ask this brother, all things constant, do you think this woman would even pay your ass any kind of attention if you did not have what you have? And I want to ask this white woman, okay, so now you're married to Jamal. Okay, all things constant, are you attracted to Jamal's counterparts? All men that look like, act like, speak like, come from the same background as Jamal? Or do you just like Jamal because he's Jamal? You know what I'm saying? And y'all know the answer as well as I do. And so I think that's where a lot of people's disdain in black men dating white women is rooted. And then, I had to further analyze, why it is that people tend to feel this way. And I've come to the conclusion that, in this white supremacist patriarchal society that we live in, black people as a whole, we're devalued. Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole. There are other people down there, but we down there at the bottom under this, white supremacy situation. And black women oftentimes are sent messages, and I've heard a lot of black women feel like they are like one of the most underserved populations and underappreciated populations in this society. So with that being said, with white being at the top and black being on this invisible totem pole at the bottom, I think oftentimes when we see a black woman with a white man, to a degree we fell victim to the social conditioning under white supremacy, because even we feel like, oh girl, that's good. That's good. Yeah, girl, you don't came up. And I guess we feel this way because we recognize and understand that for most white men in their white world, dating what they perceive to be the bottom of the totem pole, the black woman, that he may get shunned in his social group, in his family, and quote unquote, for lack of a better term, amongst the white world. That might be considered a step back or a step down. And so I think a lot of people, whether we want to consciously admit it or not, in our minds, we're like, well, shoot, if that brother took that step, if that white brother took that step back to be with that black sister, then he must really love her and it must be genuine, because low-key, he's not gaining anything socially by being with her. If anything, he's losing. And I'm not saying that I agree with this psychology, but it seems to be, that's the way things are. Versus when a black man dates a white woman, the perception in his mind and in the minds of others that think like him is that, oh shit, we are down here, and before I had access to them, I could only date other people who were quote unquote down here with me. But now that I'm, got a taste of the good life, and now I've got access, let me get what's perceived to be higher than what I'm used to having access to. And it is a sick, twisted psychology. And I'm not saying that I agree with it, but let's face it, guys, there is a such thing in this country as, social currency. And a person's social currency and how much of it you have is based on other people's perceptions. So although we may not consciously subscribe to it, these types of things do exist. I found it I found it interesting that there was a study done of 2.4 million people on a dating app of men and women, heterosexual, and they had people, they were monitoring the responses that people got. And long story short, all men on the app responded most to Asian women, with the exception of Asian men who responded most to Latino women. Okay? Most women, with the exception of black women, responded to white men, Hispanic men, or Latino men. Okay? Black women, however, responded 3 times more to other black men, whereas black men were more likely to respond to women of other races than they were of black women. So here was the interesting thing about what this study found. If we take these 2.4 million people and we apply it to the world, the message is, while black women are being loyal to black men and they want to date other black men are not returning the same level of loyalty to them. black men are finding women of other races more attractive. However, the study also revealed, for lack of a better term, that black women were the least desirable group of women amongst men of other races. So here it is now, black women, they want a black man. But the black men seem to be more likely to respond to women of other races. And that dichotomy only held true for black women. So I'm going to put the study at the bottom of this video, and it was just very, it was, I'm rambling here. It was very interesting. But in closing, it's weird. Is there a double standard? Is it okay for there to be a double standard? And is this double standard necessary to kind of bring the market into balance, per se? What are you guys' thoughts on it? I am by no means necessarily trying to pass off my thoughts in this rant as the gospel or the truth. They were just a compilation of my thoughts based on, some reading and some stuff that I've been working on. And I just wanted to provide a platform for us to have a little discussion in the comments. So y'all let me know what y'all think. This has gotten longer than I wanted it to be. But I kind of feel good. That was cathartic talking about that. So give me your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Bye.